Hi, everybody. It's Annapurna Devi with Awakening to Harmony. And I'm here today to just kind of give you some tips and tools for how to work with Mercury Retrograde. Now, we all know it started a few days ago, started on the 9th, so we are a little bit into it, but sometimes it takes a little while for us to feel the effects of it. And I thought I would bring you these tips and tools now so that you can move through it with more ease, and maybe even find an optimal balance with it. So, what is Mercury retrograde? All right, let's look at that. Let's talk about that. So, Mercury retrograde is a phenomenon where Mercury appears to be moving backwards in its orbit. It doesn't really do that, but the appearance of it is significant enough to shift the energy that Mercury offers us in ways that sort of disrupt certain things that it rules over. Okay, what are those things? Well, communication, travel, and electronics. So any electronic device for communication. So computers, cell phones, anything, watches, like if you have an Apple Watch or if you have a Fitbit, those electronic devices that communicate information or data to us or us to others can really be disrupted by this phenomenon. So what do we do? What do we do with these energies? Well, the first thing that I have found, being a Gemini, which means that Mercury is the planet that rules my astrological sign. So for me, a lot of it is about learning how to prepare for it. I used to dread it coming. I would look on the calendar and be like, oh, God, next month there's a Mercury retrograde. And I would just be like all at sixes and sevens about, it's coming and it's going to be horrible. And at some point, I decided to change my mind about that. And I thought, oh, okay, well, it's coming. So therefore, I know that my schedule is probably going to be disrupted. So people are probably going to call and reschedule their appointments. And as I work for myself with clients, that can kind of disrupt the budget, as you're trying to stay consistent with things. So it's about trust. Okay, so that's going to happen. Okay, so clients are going to either cancel or reschedule or things are going to be not as set as I think they are. All right, so I'm already ready for that, right? So my expectation is that there will be some shifts in my schedule. Okay. Just offering that to myself really took so much of the disruptive energy out of when clients would call or text me and say, hey, I got to change this or I got to change that. It really made it so much easier because I was almost in a space of, if it didn't happen, wow, that was super cool. But when it did, it didn't throw me off. I was like, okay, so I knew this was coming. All right, so how am I going to navigate this? And knowing that something's coming, it's kind of like, it's not that you have a negative outlook on things. That's something different. This is kind of like preparing for weather, right? Let's say there's a major rainstorm coming, and you decide that, well, I'm going to ignore that, and you walk out and you have no umbrella and you don't have the right shoes, it's like you're just walking into it and you're just like soaked and everything's just going wrong because you didn't prepare. So let's say that the storm is coming. Wear the right clothes, you've got your overcoat that's waterproof on, you got your galoshes, you've got your umbrella, maybe even a backup umbrella. That's what this is doing. You're preparing for something that may happen or may not happen, right? But you're prepared. You're not just assuming it's not going to happen. So the other thing, so that's the first thing that I do. The second thing that I do is I have more patience, or I've cultivated a mindset of creating more patience when things aren't working well. So let's say my phone's kind of glitchy, I'm talking to someone and it's cutting out, or the call gets dropped. And I just take a minute and I go, Mercury, oh, I just love you so much. I'm just going to take a break. That person will call back, or I will call them back. The communication that was interrupted, there might be a purpose. Let's say there was a little bit of an edge, or there was an argument even, and all of a sudden you're interrupted. Well, guess what? That just gave you a break to change how you feel or how you're going to approach when you do get back in touch with that person. That's kind of a blessing, yeah? I mean, think about it. That could be a blessing. So that's the other thing that I do, is if I do get interrupted, or I'm in the middle of a discussion and it gets shifted, I usually take that as a good sign. Okay, so I needed to step back, or maybe that time that we were thinking that we were going to schedule, but we never got around to getting to that point, maybe it's going to shift. And when they call me back, it's going to be a better time for both of us, and it's probably going to be settled in a way it's not going to change. So that's one thing that can be helpful. The other thing is, if you are traveling, oh my gosh, double check that travel ticket. Double check, triple check, make sure all the times look right. Make sure that on the day of your travel, you check and recheck when the plane is going to be there. Especially your connecting flights. Just don't look at it once and go, okay, well, that's fine. Look at it again and again and again. This way, again, you are preparing yourself for possible changes at the last minute, or changes that will happen. When the changes do happen, let's say you're late for an appointment and there's a car accident. Well, there's nothing you can do about that, right? You're in the middle of a gridlock. The universe just gave you time. It just gave you a span of time where you can just sit and breathe. Maybe throw on a podcast. Maybe throw on some music. Maybe just breathe in and out. Maybe do some meditation. Because when we get worked up about something that we have no control over, it actually is sending a message to our physiological system that there's nothing you can do, but you need to run from the lion. But the lion is sitting right next to you, so there's really nowhere you can go. So really, there isn't any way that you're going to be able to comfort your body, because when you stress about something you have no control over, it just is this really, really bad place to get into, because your nervous system is just being, taxed and taxed and taxed. Well, step back. Take a deep breath. Release it out. Look at the situation from a broader perspective. Try and contact the person that you're going to be late, if it's work. And then if their response is unbalanced, right? Don't take it on. Don't try to defend yourself. Just look at it and go, this is not my fault. This is not my fault, and it's all going to work out. Because if you take on the position that, oh my God, you're right, I'm in this traffic, and it's totally my fault that these people just ran into each other 5 cars in front of me. That makes no sense, right? So if someone is responding to you as if it is your fault, don't take it on. Probably what's going on is they're having their own issues of stress, and they're not dealing with that well. And so if you can stay calm and you can stay centered and just be like, oh, okay, that's their stuff, I am not even going to try and figure that out, then what you're doing is you're really releasing and putting up a boundary for energies that do not need to affect you. You're going to let them have it. You're going to have that. You're going to let them have it, and you're going to be in your space. In other words, you're going to stay in your lane, literally. The third thing that you can do is if there is sort of an altercation or some information has come to light, let's say you're teenager, you just found out because the teacher called and they've been skipping math class every day for like the last week and a half because it's the last period of the day, they're in high school, they just don't want to go. So, or you found out that your in-laws are suddenly coming for a surprise visit, and there's a little bit of an issue, with the mother-in-law or the father-in-law, and it's difficult, and you're like, oh God, I have to deal with this. So any information that comes to you that is disruptive in nature, you're going to step away. You're going to go outside, you're going to take a little walk, and you're just going to breathe. You're just going to breathe in and breathe out until you find yourself coming into a place of just you. There's just you in this moment. There's nobody else. There's nobody else around. The in-laws aren't there yet. Your kid isn't home from school yet, or home from wherever he goes when he's not going to math class. You have a minute. Gather yourself. If you need to, go make yourself a cup of tea, right? Take care of yourself. And then ask yourself, what can I do about this situation? Okay, I'm going to have to sit down with my kid and I'm going to have to explain to them that, they're going to be grounded for a little while. And, the importance of showing up for things, and maybe taking it as an opportunity. Okay, these things that happen with our kids, they can be extremely wonderful opportunities for us to talk to them about what's important. It's called parenting. I think parents sometimes think of things that our kids do that are not quite, the right thing as disruptions. But really what it is, it's an opportunity for us to actually parent. It's an opportunity for us to guide them, right? If you ever watch nature channels, you're always going to see the straggling cub or the straggling, kitten that's like wandering off, and the mom's like tromping over there and she's like grabbing it by the gruff with her mouth and she's like, oh, what the heck are you doing? Get over here. That's parenting. You gotta guide your kids. The other thing is, when you're thinking about things like, oh, okay, my in-laws are coming, and you have that sort of with one of them, it is an opportunity. Look at what it is about them that you don't like. There's a part of you that they're bringing up, right? Take some time to do some journaling about that, right? It's happening, so you kind of have a preparation for what to do. All of these things, especially Mercury Retrograde, when it offers us these opportunities for these situations, it's just really great to hone how it is we respond to things outside of ourselves. It's really what it is. It's almost like when it comes around, it's like, okay, time for the course of not taking anything personal. It's like Don Miguel Ruiz has a magic wand. He's like, okay, Mercury retrograde is going to happen now. You can all work with lesson number 1, which is don't take things personal. So think of it as that. The other thing that I think is wonderful during a Mercury retrograde is to go back to projects that you haven't finished that were of a crafty nature or a creative nature. So when I first started this business and left my full-time job about almost 8 years ago now, my body was in the routine of getting up, going to work, having all this activity and then coming home. And so I was in my body physiologically, you can't just stop that. Your body is responding to a routine that you've given it, for years. So I really had to find something to occupy my time. Besides working on my business, which I did, but you can't just obsess and because that's not good. The business needs breathing time. It needs time for the energy to sort of expand and to draw in what you're looking for. So you do need to give it a break. So what I decided to do was write a story, and I have not finished it. And oftentimes during a Mercury retrograde, I will go back into the computer, and because I have it all in a file, and I'll pull up the file and I'll reread it, and I'll do a little writing. And it is such a great way to give myself a little vacation for a moment or two or an hour from whatever's going on, and it can also ease us out of that challenge that Mercury retrograde presents. So the other thing that you can do, go back to that knitting project, go back to that project of art that you started. Maybe it's a painting, maybe it's a drawing, whatever it is. The other thing that I love doing is organizing during a Mercury retrograde. It is one of the best things you can do because it's very reflective. You're getting rid of things you no longer need because they're in the drawer, right? Do you need them? No, but they're just there because you didn't know where else to put them. And you thought, I shouldn't throw this away. So now you're going through that drawer, you're organizing it. Every time you open that drawer now, you're going to be like, oh, look at that drawer. It's so fabulous. Now, this doesn't mean you take on the whole entire kitchen or the whole entire bathroom. Just pick a drawer, one drawer. Organize that one drawer. What you're doing is you're taking that reflective, contemplative energy that Mercury is offering you, which is stop what you're doing and go back and look at something that you did before and organize it. That's really what Mercury is offering us during these times, is don't keep moving forward. Right now, what you need to do is stop and just look in the past a little bit. Kind of do some reflection, kind of do some breathing, maybe do some writing, journaling. These are things that really, really help. So let's recap. Prepare. It's coming. The storm's coming. Get your umbrella, get your boots. So if you know a Mercury retrograde is coming, anticipate that your schedule is going to possibly be disrupted. Possibly emails and things may get lost. So if there's an important email, if there's an important communication you need to make, do it 2 and 3 times just to make sure the person that you are wanting to communicate with is getting it. The third thing is, if things go wrong, just try and breathe. Try and center yourself. If you're in a car and there's a big accident and you're stuck in traffic, you can't make your meeting, or you're picking up your kids, or whatever it is. Know that you are not in control, and then let it go. Call up a friend. Hey, can Jimmy go and spend some time with your family this afternoon? I'm stuck in traffic. Sure, no problem. Great. I'm so sorry. I can't make the meeting. I know we needed to make a decision, but I really can't do anything about the fact that there's an accident 4 cars in front of me, or 10 cars in front of me. We'll have to reschedule. Accept when things are not in your control. And don't let it upset you. Here's the thing. Don't let it upset you. You're in control of you. So be in control. Know that it's not your fault. Really get into honing that self-talk. Okay, this is not in my control. This is not my fault. I had every intention of making that meeting. when you know you're doing the right thing, but something is interrupting it, then you don't take it personal. It's not on you. You're doing the best you can, right? And guess what? So is everybody else. So if other people are freaking out, well, maybe since you've watched this video, you knew you can be the person that is the calm influence in their life. It could be a stranger's life, you know. You could reach out and maybe help them. Um, Being the calm in the storm is beneficial for you and others. And if you can begin to learn how to do this now, it'll just make it so much easier for the next time Mercury comes around. So I hope that this has helped. I hope that you can relate to the next few weeks in a peaceful, joyful way that is not difficult for you. I hope you go back and dig up those projects you never finished and enjoy spending some time working on them. So I will leave you with this one suggestion as well. Be super kind to yourself and others, right? The one thing I remember when I was a really young mom and really harried, and we've been, going all over the place running errands, and I would come back. I remember sitting down and watching Mr. Rogers. And his calming influence was such a blanket of reassurance. Find whatever it is for you that gives you that reassurance, that gives you that peace of mind. Whatever it is, maybe it's music, maybe it's a meditation that you found on YouTube, maybe it is calling your mom, maybe it is calling your best friend. Take time out to do these things for yourself that bring you joy, bring you ease, bring you comfort. And that's taking care of yourself and others that you're around. All right, peace and blessings. I'm Annapurna Devi with Awakening to Harmony. I hope that this has helped you tremendously get through these next few weeks with as much ease and joy as possible. All right, many blessings. Thanks so much. And thank you so much for watching. And like this, subscribe, and share with your friends. All right, bye-bye now.